I'd like to introduce the chair of the first panel, who is Dr. Steve Hill from Geoscience Australia. So Steve has been the Chief Scientist at Geoscience Australia since 2018, and since July 2022 has also been the Acting Chief of the Place and Communities Division. As Chief Scientist, Steve is responsible for strategic science leadership, influence and external engagement as expressed in Geoscience Australia's decadal science strategy. As Acting Chief of Place and Communities Division, Steve has direction of Geoscience Australia's community safety, national location information and its programs in Australia's marine jurisdiction and the Antarctic. He's widely recognised for his passion and knowledge of geoscience, especially for driving the connection country to country and how to best live with it. So over to you, Steve.
Great, thanks for that, Jill, and hello everybody. And what an exciting session we've just heard a bit of, and we've got plenty more coming up, so really looking forward to that. I'll get straight into introducing our panelists, and then we can hear a little bit from each of them. First panelists we're going to hear from, actually Jill, and she's partnering with Nick Horsepool from, they're both from GNS Science. I don't think Jill needs any further introduction. I think we all know and love Jill very much, other than just to reinforce that she's currently the leader of the Natural Hazards and Risks Science theme at GNS Science in New Zealand. And her colleague Nick is joining her. Nick is a Senior Risk Scientist at GNS Science. And Nick's work involves research and undertaking applied projects that develop natural hazard risk models to quantify the impact of natural hazards on the communities. Prior to joining GNS Science, Nick worked for Geoscience Australia, which is where I work at the moment. So Nick and I didn't cross paths, so he can't blame me for the reason that he left. And it's great to see people that have all worked together working in different places. Our next panelist that we'll hear from is Wandi Imran, and he's a professor in the Faculty of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the Institute Technology Bandung, Indonesia, and he's been involved in the design of many mega infrastructure projects in Indonesia. And right now, he's the director of the Research Centre for Disaster Mitigation and is also a member of the advisory board in the National Centre for Earthquake Studies. The next person that we'll hear from after that will be from Jorge Krempian. Now, Jorge is a seismologist and engineer working as an assistant professor at Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile. Sorry, I practiced that. I thought I had it fluent with a bit of flair. Apologies for stammering through it. He currently works on research topics such as earthquake seismology and the consequences such as strong ground motion and tsunami phenomena, as well as the impacts these have on the built environment. And the final panelist that we'll hear from is Lee Wolfram. And Lee is a policy analyst in the OECD's Directorate for Financial and Enterprise Affairs, where he leads the Directorate's work on the financial management of catastrophe risk. Prior to joining the OECD, he worked in the financial sector policy branch at the Canadian Department of Finance and at Global Affairs Canada on international financing issues. I think you'll all agree we've got a great panel here, and I'd now like to hand back to the organisers as they will now share with us the presentations from the panellists. Thank you very much.